One friend of mine says to me, witness, when I heard you're going through divorce, I thought, shucks, this guy is finished. We're gonna have to be checking up on him all the time because literally this man loved that woman, so he's gonna be destroyed. And he came to me later and said, but I was surprised that you were not destroyed as much as I thought you would be. Instead, you were the one checking up on us, making sure as your gents that you are fine. And I want to speak to someone, maybe a guy, perhaps going through the same situation, and just give a bit of context in terms of my story. When I realized that my marriage was broken down beyond repair, and I decided that I want a divorce, it was at a point where I, after finding out what had happened, went through a season of counseling, which was about 6 weeks. And in that 6 weeks, I knew for a fact that I'm not going to stay in the marriage. But one thing I did, which I wasn't doing, was to hit the gym and exercise, start taking care of myself. I knew that because I'm going through pain, emotionally, mentally, I have to transfer that pain to my body and just literally just go through the pain as quickly as I can and ensure that one, I don't waste the pain. Two, I exercise and hit the gym to build my body and to build my mind and to deal with the stress that I was going through. And then also, I took responsibility and said, okay, although this is not completely my fault, I too played a role. I contributed to the breaking down of the marriage. So I'm not a victim here. Then I realized, okay, since I know that I'm not a victim, I need to build a great relationship with pain, have a great relationship with pain and understand that, now is the time where I'm definitely going to be going through some pain because of what has happened to me. And it was okay. It was okay because I knew that whenever there is something that is emotional that's taking place in one's life, whether it's the death of a loved one, whether, like when I lost my mother, I knew at that moment that I'm going to go through the pain. I'm going to mourn my mother. The difference was that my mother was late. I was never going to see her again. When I lost my brother, I think that taught me as well to mourn and let go, right? But the pain of divorce is that as you are mourning this person, you are receiving a message from them. You are receiving an email from them. You are receiving a message about them. You are receiving an email about them. We have a daughter. My daughter was born in my marriage. And for me, the main thing was, I can take the pain of losing stuff, be it a business deal, be it an opportunity, be it a property that we have developed. I can take the pain of losing that. But I knew for a fact that I will not take the pain of losing my daughter. That pain I didn't want to be part of. So my main negotiation strategy was to focus more on the child rather than on material things. And I said that I even got to a point one time where I said, you know what, take everything. Take everything, because the only thing that I want is that. Luckily, my ex-wife wasn't really interested in taking everything. I mean, at some point, although it got sour later, we did have an amicable conversation. We sat down, had a meeting, talked about what we wanted, what her desires were, what she wanted to take. I won't go into deeper in terms of what she took and what I took, but the main point was, my main focus was my daughter. I wanted to stay with my daughter. And I knew that if I stayed alone, my life would take a different direction. Young man, successful. I was becoming a bit popular then, not necessarily ugly, handsome, ladies like me. And I knew for a fact that my house where I was moving to, because I said, okay, I'll leave the house to my ex-wife. When I left, I knew that where I was going, if I don't have someone that I'm accountable to, that I'm staying with, I'm going to have trouble. So I took my daughter with me, became the primary guardian for my daughter, and obviously my ex-wife became the secondary guardian. But that was my focus, to say I'm willing to sell anything and everything that I have to fight a custody battle for my daughter. But another thing that I realized was that alcohol was not going to be the solution. You know, I've seen people go through stuff and they tend to the bottle. That makes your problems worse than they are. It makes them worse. You know, I'm not saying I did not have any drink there and there. I mean, I became a casual drinker from there. I mean, I would go out with friends, although I didn't drink alcohol for about 10 years. I started drinking alcohol when I was going through the divorce, you know, going out, casually drinking. A friend of mine who loved clubs would say, let's go, but he would pay. So I didn't see a problem, but I would go, right? But what I knew was that Monday to Friday, I'm hitting the gym and going to work and working on my dreams. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, honestly speaking, at that time, I was going out, meeting people, whether it be restaurants, whether it be going to the club with friends, whether it be going to church. I wanted to see myself out of the house, right? Luckily, like I said, I was also staying with my daughter. So I was creating excursions that she and I can go to. You know, go to the Lion and Safari Park. We would go to, would drive to Limpopo, would drive to Mpumalanga, like anywhere where they said it's kids friendly. I'll take her with me. I'll set aside holidays for me and her, just traveling. You know, the most important thing is your mental capacity. So as a dad, as a father, I knew that I was not going to operate at the right mental state if my daughter was not with me. You know, my ex-wife had moved on even. So I knew that, okay, one, I'm very overprotective over what's mine. I know that I would constantly be thinking about whether or not my daughter is fine. So the best person that would have given my daughter that safety and comfort and security and protection is me. I'm her father. She's got my blood. And I know for a fact that God wants me to be the man that I'm supposed to be and be a provider to her, be a protector to her, whether it's mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, everything. I need to be there. So that was important to me. So gents, let me say this to the gents. Hit the gym. Out of all these things that I've said, hit the gym, work on your mental and emotional state. See a psychologist if you have to. You know, I went to therapy. You know, I had a therapist, I had mentors, and I had a coach. You know, people that I could go to and they could talk to me and hear how I am and help me overcome what I'm going through. You know, what you're going through is not easy. I mean, even now I'm still healing. It's been almost 3 years since I've divorced. I definitely look better than I was when I was getting divorced. But people always tell me that I never looked like it. And I'm not saying I'm steadying. I never even felt any pain. Of course I felt pain. But like I said, I built a good relationship with pain. Having a good relationship with pain. Like now, I know for a fact that I'm also then helping myself overcome certain traumas that I suffered because of the marriage. You know, I know when I got married, man, I was what, 24? I was a kid, basically, you know, and nobody forced me to get married. I made that decision. So now that I was now at a point where I realized it's not working at that moment and there wasn't any way that it could be fixed. You know, I had a great marriage for the first 5 and a couple of months. It was a great marriage for me. I don't know for her whether it was or not, but that's neither here nor there. I'm talking about me. But when it got to a point where I realized that my life could be in danger, the marriage would probably never even work, I took a decision to get divorced, right? So one guy says, be slow to marry, and if you made a mistake, be quick to divorce. I agree with him. Now, I was quick to marry, which was the mistake, but at least I rectified it by being quick to divorce. You know? All the best, guys. Work on yourself, like I said.